I had to swing by my buddy's place. He's living near a gorgeous high mountain lake known for its crayfish. So I thought, well, why not grab some and whip up a tasty evening meal? Prepping crayfish isn't rocket science, but there are a few rules to follow. First things first, they need to be alive when they arrive, so you've got to transport them carefully. Next up, you've got to give them a good rinse in running water. Sometimes they've got that earthy, muddy smell from living at the bottom of lakes and rivers. Fast-flowing fresh water clears out the muck and seaweed that clings to their shells. Springtime vibes, with trees in full bloom and bees buzzing like they're in their own secret meeting. I'll investigate that hive commotion later. Great news, all our crayfish buddies are alive and squeaky clean. They're not huge, but they'll do the trick. For these crayfish, I'm going to need a big bowl to hold plenty of water, just like when you're boiling spaghetti. So I've got 3 or 4 jars of water going on the stove to save some time. Trimming off the leaves and corn husks, we don't need those. The cobs are getting cleaned up. The water's heating up, and I'm chopping up a mix of parsley and dill, leaving the stems behind. Those leaves are going into the boiling water to infuse some herby goodness. We'll tie them up with a string to fish them out later. Our crayfish are looking good, and now it's time to bring in the orchestra, potatoes and corn. The potatoes are fresh from the field, no need to peel them. Their skins will peel right off after boiling. Same deal with the corn. It's in season, young, and will be ready in no time. Lemons, slicing some of them in half and tossing them into the water. The rest can wait for later. Check out the bowl, it's as vibrant as a fruit salad. To crank up the flavour, we've got some spices on deck. Plenty of bay leaves for our crayfish, some salt, a herb mix and loads of paprika. With a big bowl comes a big spoon. I've got some time for the corn and potatoes to boil and let that water soak up those spices. Oh, almost forgot the onions. The water's roaring and bubbling in the pot. It's time to introduce our crayfish to the boiling waters. They'll be gone in a jiffy, no pain involved. This is why I went with a massive bowl. Crayfish turn a lovely shade of red in about half a minute. They'll chill in the water for a while, soaking up those spices, while I check on my buzzing bee buddies. Here's where the buzz is coming from. I spot a new swarm of bees hanging out in a tree. It means a new queen bee has left one of the hives to start her own colony with part of the bees. The swarm is perched on the tree, ready to find a new place to call home. I've got to act fast to capture it and move it into a new hive, expanding our bee family. Beekeepers are always prepared for such moments. The new hive is just waiting for its swarm. I brought frames for honeycombs and set them up, so the new home is all set. Time to welcome the bees. To be a good host, I've got to personally show them the way. Of course, I've got to dress the part when welcoming guests. A beekeeper suit with a veil to keep the bees from getting too close for comfort. The swarm doesn't have a clue where to go, so I'm taking matters into my own hands, quite literally. To make it easier, I chop off the branch with a handsaw, keeping it quiet to not upset the bees. Then I gently shake the branch, bees and all, straight into the hive. Welcome to your new home. Time to dig into my crayfish dish. It's cooled down a bit. I grab a big skimmer and start emptying the basin. A mountain of crayfish, corn and potatoes, a drizzle of lemon juice, and a glass of homemade kvass, the perfect local refreshment. I pick up a crayfish, crack it open, and get rid of the not-so-appetizing bits. Delicious. The spiced up potatoes and corn will add some extra flavor to the feast. Superb!